What's going on, you nerds, and welcome back to the True Nerds Gaming Podcast for episode number 19. We're in person today, super excited about that, and we're going to be talking about whether you should wait for a next generation console to be available, or should you just bite the bullet, jump in, and get a entry-level gaming PC. With
Master Race.
With that, let's get into it. So we are in person. We're over at Drolly's house, Dan's house.
The man cave.
The man cave. Excited to do this. We're actually going to be doing a collector's edition unboxing later. I'm very excited about that. I've been holding off on the Elden Ring collector's edition. So excited to do it in person today. Chilling on the couch, having a few drinks. Before we get into today's discussion, what do you think? Let's talk about what we've been playing. We haven't talked much this week.
No, yeah.
You go first, man.
Well, we've continued the Outriders grind.
You and Mike?
Yep, Mike and I a little bit, and then I've been grinding a little bit on solo. I still have some issues with the progression process.
What?
The progression process
for solo?
Yeah, well, just kind of in general, it's really hard to get the different legendary perks. So as you're going through, there's 30 or 40 legendary things. It's awesome, right? Well, it's hard to get them so that you can use them in your build.
Oh, the RNG is kind of
they're really rare, which is nice. But when you're trying to build craft for end game, it's I keep getting the exact. I've gotten the same gold legendary helmet 10 times. I swear. And there's 20 or 30 legendaries I don't have yet. Haven't gotten once to even delete just to get the perk for.
Dude, that reminds me of Buzzy. Buzzy's running the sniper build. And I was running my tank build, and I got the badass sniper. And he's like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah. So, okay.
So, some of the issues, there's no, good progression way through that. Now, my brother sent me the video, trailer breakdown of the new World Slayer expansion. And I think they fixed some of that, where no matter what you're playing, you're leveling something.
Okay.
So even when you're not getting legendaries, and another thing, I played on Saturday or last weekend, I played for a good couple hours, and we didn't beat a single expedition. There was a level, his average gear was 49, so he's trying to get to 50. I'm 50, so I'm trying to just grind tier 15 things, and he keeps starting the hardest tier 15 or challenge tier 15 expeditions, and I cannot carry his ass through it. So we keep failing. He keeps trying different hard ones, and so I didn't want to leave him and be one of those people. So I'm trying, hoping we can get another third in, and we couldn't. And so I played for 2 or 3 hours, and I didn't progress at all.
No progression.
Yeah, there was nothing that I did that got me any farther.
That reminds me of playing Destiny back in the day. 9 times out of 10, I had a really good grind session at night. But if you ever had that night where you had 2 to 3 hours of gameplay and you didn't complete anything, you didn't get and this was way back before they had multiple powerful engrams and
yep.
And you'd be so mad, dude, I didn't do anything, or you got a shit drop, and
You're talking Destiny 2?
Or yeah,
Destiny 2. Yeah, because you only got 3 or 4 drops a week, right? It was all weekly locked.
And it feels bad. It just, you felt you wasted your gaming time.
100%. And then you just felt you could play. I remember when Destiny 2 first came out, you grinded hours. I was thinking it was like Destiny 1, right? So I'm grinding and putting in 20 hours in a week. And I look at it, and you only got the 4 or 5 powerful engrams, and everything else didn't progress you.
Right. And
so I'm they're really capping your grinding session. You always expect diminishing returns, right? You want the casuals to be able to come in and feel like they're progressing along with you. But then if I want to put in a certain amount of hours, I want to feel at least something I'm inching forward.
A small percentage base.
Yeah,
upgrade.
It was 0%.
That sucks.
And it's like a killer.
I think they're listening though, because you look at the new expansion that's coming out. They have addressed a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I told you the other day when he asked me to, Dan asked me to get on and play Outriders. I'm like, dude, no, I need to wait for the expansion because I got too much backlog going on. Dan's going against what he said in our backlog podcast months ago, that he was going to actually progress some of his old games, but I just need to wait. I need to wait for him to fix a few things. I love the game. I had fun with 30 or 40 hours I played it.
For sure.
But just kind of, for me, I'm going to wait.
That's fair.
So what I am playing, I'm super excited. I just got the third achievement ending on Elden Ring. There's 6 total endings, but I just got the third one, which is the quote-unquote bad ending, where you're evil. Man, it was the best one by far. The cinematic at the end got me super excited. I'm not going to spoil anything out there, but man, I was hyped. I almost started a new playthrough just because I had so much fun. So I'm done with Elden Ring. I pulled the plug at about 155 hours. I'm not done with the game forever.
Right.
But I need to take a break because I started my last night of playing. I started to get a little ragey because I'd been playing this game for so long. And I'm like, I need to stop now. Otherwise, I'm just going to start hating the game kind of deal.
And I feel like you've kind of like beat most of the stuff. You haven't like 100% of it, or like I would say 1,000% of it. Like get every single nook and cranny achievement and beat every single boss. But like you've pretty much done everything in the game.
Yeah. So the only achievements I have left are like get all legendary armaments, get a legendary incantation, stuff like that, which I was going to start doing, but I found out that I'm locked out of the legendary armaments one on this playthrough.
Because of your dark?
No, because I progressed through Volcano Manor too fast and I didn't get one of the invasions, which one of those things where you didn't know, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't know. So I'm just going to wait. I didn't uninstall it. Normally I do that when I'm done with the game, but I'm just going to wait. What I am playing, though, is Weird West. I jumped into Weird West. I've been super excited about this game. For those of you who don't know, I don't even think you really know what it is. It's not a top-down, but it's kind of like a three-quarters over the view, shoulder, stealth game. It's very world-building, narrative-driven, simulator, I guess. Someone called it life simulator, and I didn't think it was that, and I was like, oh no, that actually kind of is, because your decisions truly matter in this game, right? You could kill somebody or not kill somebody, and based on that decision, it's going to affect your actual outcome of the story. You could be, say you let someone live, and then you progress into the game. Yeah. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, remember when you killed all my friends and you let me go? Well, here's my posse and I'm here to fuck you up. Like, that's pretty dude, cool. It's actually really good. Actually pretty sweet. I've only got about 5 hours into the game, but it's so far it's really good. It's kind of like a twin stick shooter. It's kind of a stealth game. It's just weird, man. It's Weird really West. Unique. It's called Weird West. It's super unique. The thing I really like about it is the attention to detail in the games. You can pick up any item you want. When there is voice acting, it's very good. But what they do, so you have your narrator that does voice acting. But whenever you're talking to an NPC, it's just kind of like this Charlie Brown, like, wah, 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 wah. Like, it's super cool, but it's like dark. Like, it's hard to explain. You have to play it for yourself. But
kind of like some of the Nintendo games used to do.
Kind of, but it's like super grim and like nice. I don't know how to explain it. It's like
fits the setting.
It does. It fits the setting. That's cool. So far, dude, the story hooked me. The combat hooked me. The stealth mechanics hooked me. Because the thing is like if you want to be stealthy, you can go in stealthy and you can try to knock out every single enemy.
That's not my.
Or dude, you can go in freaking guns a-blazing. Yeah. But it is difficult. Like if you go in guns a-blazing, you can set yourself up for failure really quick.
The only game that's ever made me want to like do it like attack and encounter stealthily is Elden Ring, because it can be so difficult and like really punish you, where guys just come out, like the whole group alerts everybody. They're all running at you. Like, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna sneak through and take out everybody. And that's the only time I've ever had fun with stealth. Because they let you just go at it however you want, and you learn pretty quick, like, oh, stealth works for this encounter really well. But it was only at the beginning of the game.
The thing with stealth games that I dislike is when they force you into a certain way.
Correct. I don't like it.
This game does not. You can walk in. You can it's crazy. The AI in this game, say you open a door, or you move an item, like, dude, I turned off a lantern and someone like went out of their patrol way to go inspect that lantern so then I could sneak around him and knock his ass out.
That's pretty cool.
But like, this is the first game that I haven't save scummed stealth. So like, normally if I got caught up, like, oh,
right,
let me hit that load button. But with this, I'm like, oh nope, all right, bullets are coming out, boys. And the cool thing is, man, say you save somebody in this game, like multiple missions back. Say you're getting overran. All of a sudden, it's like lifelong friend destroying the battle, and he'll start killing the enemies with you, dude. It's like, hey, I heard you were in trouble, kind of deal.
That's super cool.
Super great. The game is on Game Pass. I just want to put that out there. It is on Game Pass. It is free $99. I personally bought it on Steam because I want to play on my Steam Deck. It runs good on Steam Deck. It actually does, but the controls do not feel the best. I prefer mouse and keyboard. So that's all I've been playing. Darkest Dungeon. Not going to hit on that again. Nope. But yeah, man, I'm having a blast. I cannot tell you how how excited I was to not play Elden Ring for once. As weird as that is, because I had so much fun in it, but I was on that borderline.
Put your time in for sure.
Yep.
So I definitely haven't given up on Elden Ring, but I've hit one of those open world things where it really stops my enjoyment to play the game.
Are you still on the Giant?
I'm still on the Giant, and like I've picked it up a few times, only on the Steam Deck, but like I've got it running really good on the Steam Deck. The new 40 hertz mode that they've implemented, and you can cap games to 40 hertz, is perfect and ingenious, and it works really good for Elden Ring. And any of the performance quos that I had before, where I thought it dipped down to like 24 FPS, they're gone. It's rock solid 40 FPS.
Dude, that's wild.
It blows my mind that it can run that game at 40 FPS rock solid, and it runs a lot of games 40 FPS. Even Lego Star Wars, which is unsupported, like not like unknown, unsupported, runs flawlessly. But I'm on the beta build.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so for those listening, he's on the beta build. So if you do have a Steam Deck, all you have to do is you just need to go into your settings and mark either current build or beta build, and then it gives you the option for the 40 hertz refresh rate, which then you can cap at 40 frames, not be stuck at 30 or 60. So you can do 20 or 40 frames per second. I haven't personally done it because I haven't had the need to.
Yep.
But
yeah, and because of that limitation, it when you cap it, you can only cap it at like your FPS. You can only cap at half of the current the polling rate, which is your hertz. And so you can go anywhere from 40 to 60. So you could do 50, and you could cap your game at 25 FPS if you wanted to.
Right.
But that's why most people do 60 hertz and cap it at 30, because if the game can't run it, 30 FPS is like generally like pretty playable. Anything under that gets pretty
janky.
It can be
pretty crusty
for especially for a fast pace kind of game. Now, top down over the like top down view, slow, like a Civilization or something. Yeah, that wouldn't matter at all. The FPS.
What game did you pick up?
I picked up.
What the fuck's it called?
Yeah, it's like a I'm gonna have to look it up.
So Dan reached out to me and he's like, dude, I picked up the problem with owning a Steam Deck right now, man,
is the Switch problem.
Yeah, you sit there and you're like, this game would play great on handheld, and you buy it. Dude, I've spent more money on games and the amount of games I've picked up. I shouldn't say I spent more money, but the amount of games I picked up since I bought this freaking Steam Deck is stupid. Yeah. It's great though. It's a good problem to have. But like every single day I'm on CD Keys. They just had a huge roguelike / light Steam sale. Yeah. Huge sale.
Okay, this is at least the benefit of Steam versus Switch is the sales.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
I bought so many Switch games, $60.
You can buy 10. You can buy 10 Steam games for the price of one Switch game, which is disgusting.
Yeah. So when we're getting all these different games, they're all like 10, 20.
It was Dwarf
$3 game.
Dwarf.
Yep. It is Romantic. Or Romantic. However you want to split up this.
Romantic. I think that's what it's called.
So it's this like puzzle building.
About today?
now the TV went to.
Oh, I was like, oh no, are we even recording here? So yeah, Dan reached out to me. He's like, "Dude, pick up this game," and I looked it up. I didn't buy it, and I think it's off sale now. But
really?
just talk a little bit about it because it did interest me.
It's this like puzzle building, like city building, landscape building game where you get these like little hexagonal like discs, and you align them to connect different things together. So you connect and build this big forest, and the pieces have to like line up for it to connect to that forest. Whereas if you have a piece, the forest is only on one side, you have to rotate it to get it to connect. And then there's train tracks, and there's like a town like section, and then there's water, and you get all these achievements, and then they add more things that you get to like build into it, and so it like levels you up. And so then
is this a co-op game? Can you play co-op or no?
I don't think so. No, single
just
player.
Like a chill,
it's really
chill puzzle
chill.
game. Yeah,
it's perfect playing right before bed. But you can kind of like build these different like kind of epic things, and what you're trying to do is build a big of a like landscape as possible. And so you have a limited amount of pieces, but the more you connect, and the more they'll kind of give you these like challenge pieces where it'll have like a number, and it'll be like over a house. And so you have to build so many houses that connect to it. They have to build a town to fulfill that number, and then you get this big bonus amount of pieces.
It sounds like a chill game that kind of you could really get creative with.
Oh yeah.
So I do like building games. I don't play enough of them, but
no, it was really fun. It's really well done. It works great on the Switch, on the Steam Deck. All the buttons.
What kind of channel is this?
A Steam Deck channel.
Beat 'em Ups version 2.0.
But no, it was a lot of fun, and it was $10 on sale.
Yeah, I don't think it's on sale, but I think it's still only like a $20 game.
Yeah, it's not very expensive.
I gotta scoot over here. Sorry, my leg's falling asleep. But so let's get into today's topic. Now that we kind of discussed different games to play, so a couple weeks ago we talked about MSRPs of graphics cards going down.
Yep.
You still can't get a console right now, so I've still kind of been searching for a PlayStation 5. There's ways to get it. There really is. If you're really looking every single day and doing this, I'm not in that boat, but like,
I went through that. I went through that with some of the graphics cards. I went through that with trying to get my Xbox.
It's exhausting.
It is. It's terrible.
And I'm over it. I had a PlayStation 5 bundle in my cart, and I actually called Dan. I'm like, dude, you want to go halvesies on this thing? We decided against it, though, because the Steam Deck... the OLED got announced that day, actually. So we kind of ceased fire on that, but...
And, like, the bundles are outrageous.
Yeah.
It was like $900.
But they are fair. They are fair because it is MSRP.
You're getting everything for MSRP. You're just getting a whole bunch of stuff that you don't need.
That you probably don't need.
Like, it was like 2 or 3 controllers. So, they're charging you $70 for any of those. Nobody needs those because split screen, co-op, single player gaming is almost dead. No, like...
Except on Star Wars.
Except on Star Wars.
Yes.
But I'm almost dead.
Yeah, the bundles, you don't need all the stuff, but they are fair pricing. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. They're just, if they're all the games that you were already going to buy anyway, then
that's a win.
Then that's pretty good. But when you're spending, when I was looking at it, it was just like, we were getting close to like $1,000 for the deal, especially with tax. And it's like, it's a $500 console,
right?
And I don't think really any of the games, maybe Miles Morales, I think was maybe bundled in with it.
Yeah, I think Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank was in there. My bundle was actually a good bundle and only one extra controller. That was doable.
Maybe I got one in my cart.
Yeah, yours.
I went through like I got called up for. I picked for a Newegg one. It was $1,000, and there was like 3 or 4 games, none of which I really wanted, and 2 or 3 controllers. It was just like
that's not worth it then. So. I think the only consoles available right now are the Xbox Series S.
Yeah, you can get that. I've seen that on Newegg for less than $300.
Yeah, they're already doing sales.
It had me thinking.
But
no, the S is amazing, and I would have already bought it if it had a Blu-ray drive, a 4K for upstairs.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
It doesn't have a drive at all.
It doesn't have a drive at all.
That's the problem. So if you're a digital gamer, that is a great console. But me being a physical gamer. For my actual consoles, I would never buy that because
and I think that's what the old Xbox One S was such great value because it had the 4K Blu-ray like in it. It still like had a disc, and it was at a lower discounted price, but still offered like upgrades and was quieter. And I got it in white, which makes my wife happy. So it can be our like Blu-ray or our DVD Blu-ray player for upstairs. And you know, it's really nice, and I could play games out there. And then the real reason I got it was so she'd leave me my Xbox alone, because when I only had one, that was the DVD Blu-ray player of the house. And so,
dude, if I can get my wife
to movie tonight,
if I could stop my wife playing on my computer, just shopping on my gaming rig, she'll be like eating over it. I'm like, get away from what are you doing? Anyway, sorry.
That's funny. Yeah, it was exactly that. And so I saw that come through, and I was like, okay, here's the S. This one's like yours. You can, use it whenever you want. And then if I wanted to play games on the big screen out in the living room, then I could. So it was really great. And the only thing that's got me not wanting to buy the current Xbox Series S is that lack of disc drive.
Yeah, I would never buy that, because again, if you're a digital gamer, that's great. But me, dude, you've seen my I don't know if you have an Xbox disc collection. Like mine, I have 2 whole drawers of Xbox games. Not that, and
with the backwards compat.
Right. I'm not going to, if I can't play that shit, what's the point? Like, I'm just going to play on PC right now.
Or you'd have to also have a DVD player if that's like one of your goals.
Exactly.
We don't watch them often, but there's a few Blu-rays that we have that.
If you've ever bought them in the past, why would you put yourself in?
They get taken off streaming services, so that's then the only way we can watch them. Or we buy one specifically because they're not on streaming services. Or if the internet goes out, we want, it's that safety net. We want, we want to be able to watch something. And so with the lack of not being able to collect physical games, not being able to watch Blu-ray things, really has me turned off to the Series S. Now, there's some awesome things you can do with it. Some people say that you should get that for a computer.
Okay.
They came out with an update that you can use all the Office suite of internet or like Microsoft 365 on their Edge browser that's now built into all the Xboxes.
Interesting.
So they hooked up a keyboard and mouse to it, and
nice.
They're using it like for their school computer.
That's crazy.
And it's so compact and efficient and quiet, and like for $300, it does a really really good job.
$300 for a laptop, you'd be getting a piece of shit,
right? And you can game really well on it, and so it can do a lot. There's a lot of things you can do, but it just doesn't suit my needs.
Yeah, and same here. The Series S is it's a great console. It really is.
I'm glad it comes in under any of the PS5s by $100, even the non-digital one, which was, I feel like the non-digital PS5 is basically like a paper launch.
Yeah.
Where they kind of just, it's there on paper to appease and a few subset of people saying that oh yeah, you can get a PlayStation for $399. It's like such a good deal, but really, can you?
Yeah, not right now.
The only time I ever saw it is initially, and I've never seen one since. Everything else has been the full disc version, which I mean, we'd want the disc version anyways, but that price point, $399, is a lot easier to swallow.
It is,
and especially for it's the full PS5.
Yeah,
it's playing games the exact same way the regular PS5 is. So for people on a budget, that's a great deal. I really like it. But you can't get them. You can get Series S's all day.
Yeah, you can walk into Walmart and still see them right now. So if you're a gamer that, what our negatives were, don't bother you. Go buy it. Go get it. 100%. Buy now. I would totally,
$300. It's really hard to build a PC for $300.
It is. You cannot touch that. I'm frustrated because this is the first generation of PlayStation I've actually wanted to buy.
Right.
I had a PlayStation 3 in college.
So did I, but I already had the Xbox.
So did I.
I was like, I want to play
Uncharted.
A little bit of this.
I want to play Uncharted.
Yep. And I wanted a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
And then I got it, and I was like, this is a piece of shit compared to the Xbox.
Yeah.
The online play was awful.
It was.
I played Call of Duty on that versus the 360, and it looks like I was playing a PS2 game.
It was funny too, and we're going to talk about Xbox Live versus PlayStation Network. I think I actually came over to your dorm.
Yeah.
And dude, I was dumpstering on kids on PlayStation at work. And do you remember this?
I think so.
I come over to your dorm and we're having a few drinks or whatever, and I mean, no, we weren't because we weren't 21. But I come over to his dorm and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm really good. We were playing Modern Warfare 2, I think it was. And I got shit on, man, because I was used to playing all these scrubs on PlayStation Network, but Xbox Live was a different level for whatever reason.
There were the sweatiness, the difference in sweatiness from PlayStation to Xbox 360 was the biggest I've ever seen.
Which is funny because
it's kind of
PlayStation
reversed now.
PlayStation now with
PS4
Call of Duty.
now, like PS4 was so massive that all the sweats kind of went back to PS4. But at that time,
the sponsorship, Call of Duty sponsorship,
right? Yep,
Sony.
They had the big deal and all that good stuff. But yeah, there was a time where I ran around with the pistol and the tack knife, and I went 22-2 on the PlayStation. 22 just with the tack knife and the pistol.
Bad.
I was destroying kids. I mean, I played a lot of Call of Duty back then, but I was average.
Right.
Maybe slightly above average. And yeah, just dismantling these PlayStation kids.
Yeah, it's I don't know. But anyway, so I wanted a PlayStation 5. Yeah, that's where we're going with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because this is the first generation I actually wanted. Like, I was excited for the Ghost of Tsushima launch.
I still want to play that game.
Yeah, so I know it came out on PlayStation 4, but I wanted the upgraded version. They have the Uncharted series on there, which they're doing the trilogy release, which they're bringing out to the PC. So that really doesn't bug me. Ratchet and Clank looked great. Spider-Man.
I had a buddy come over, bring their PS5 over, and we played through Ratchet and Clank in one day.
That's awesome.
We did like 8 hours, and it was
really good.
It was a great game. It truly was the PS5 showcase game.
Yeah, showcase. Kind of like Gears on 360.
Yeah, it showed everything that the PlayStation was capable of and good at.
Yeah.
And oh man, with the SSD loading speeds, the ray tracing, we kind of looked at it all, and it was pretty incredible.
Something in my beer. I don't know. It's probably from the blue one. But so yeah. Anyways, I wanted to get it. Super frustrated that I couldn't. Still can't. But after buying the Steam Deck, I really don't care anymore. Kind of over it. So yeah, it just sucks when you want something and you're like, Sony, take my money, and they won't even do it. Mm-hmm. So I get it. Between COVID and the chip shortage and all this other BS, I get it, and I'm not super mad about it because at the end of the day, that's a first world problem, right? There's bigger shit to worry about. It would just be nice when I'm offering up $500 for someone to want to take it. Like if you offered me $500 for something right now, I'd probably be like, sure. Mostly, unless it's like my car, but. So me and Dan will segue into PlayStation PC builds. We took 5 minutes today and just looked at hey, if you wanted to spend this price point, what could you get?
Yeah, we went with $600 because of you can't get a PlayStation or an Xbox right now, so you're having to buy it secondhand. Mm-hmm. So you're $600.
You're going to spend way more than $600 first off. I want to say that.
Yeah. $600 is we just thought was fair because it was it's closer to the MSRP of a console. And now we could get it down to $500, but then you're really kind of scraping the barrel of a PC, and we don't want that kind of experience. Right. And so we went through and we found the brand new i3 1200F, which is a 4-core 8-thread. So it's basically an old i7. Except for you get all the new improvements, all the speed increases.
Which is funny because I didn't know i3 was back. And he mentioned it.
Yep. It's back, baby. It's back. It is kind of deemed the budget beast. And it's putting pressure on AMD in the low end, which normally AMD... Which
is needed because...
For the past 5 years, AMD's cleaned up the low end. But their latest release, they just left the low end to...
Intel to swoop in and take it back.
Yeah, to swoop in, and Intel did, and the i3 1200F is incredible.
Because when I built my first PC, Intel was in the lower end, and I got
AMD was so far out that you're just an i3. If all you were doing was gaming, an i3 back in the day was great. Mm-hmm. It was 2 cores, 4 threads, So it like was just kind of like a budget i5, and it accomplished everything you needed, right? And then it just didn't have the legs to kind of hold up over the past 10 years,
right?
Which the i7 like 2700 or 2600 and the like 3700 did. Like if you had one of those, especially the 600, people do not upgrade from those. They've been hanging on to those for forever.
We were talking about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah
2 weeks ago about it.
Like that was an incredible just performance increase from the first gen i7s to the second gens, and with the multi-threading, and they had 8 threads. They were great. And so the i3s are at that point. They're 4 cores, 8 threads, but they've come with all the 12th gen improvements. They're extremely fast, and they compete with like the 5600X, which is like a $200 or $300 CPU on AMD side. And it's $130 for the i3.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the only problem is there aren't very many cheap Intel motherboards.
Yeah, so pull up what we got, just so we're not speaking unintelligently here.
So we were looking at the cheapest one we could find that would fit an i3 12100F. Is a Gigabyte H60M. So you're giving up some overclocking potential. You can't overclock on it. Some other features like RAM support, I believe you can't get like super high RAM speeds. They kind of lock to like 2666, but it's $90.
Which is hilarious because I bought my ASRock Steel B450 Steel Legend for less than that, and I mean it was on a sale, obviously. But that is a much better motherboard.
You can overclock on it, and you can overclock your RAM on it, and it's kind of like, here you go.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's got one M.2 spot, so it does have that.
Same, mine had two.
It has a really cheap VRM. You can kind of there's no heat sinks on it, so you'd be worried about the cooling of the CPU. It's only got 2 spots for RAM. So you can still get 16 gigs out of that, and that's probably all you need. But future upgradability is kind of limited.
The motherboard is going to be your biggest downfall of this build. But if you're looking for entry level, we can talk upgrades later down the road.
Right. And so you can get a 16 gig kit of DDR4 for $51 right now. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's great pricing.
So entry level PC, what? 16 gigs of what?
RAM. So
RAM.
16 gigs of RAM. That's all your multitasking and bigger game needs. And so the more RAM you have, the less VRAM you kind of need. And so there's kind of like a correlation with
it's like a dance.
Yeah. So. If you get a graphics card with more video RAM, then you don't need as much system RAM or like regular RAM, and you can get away with kind of a cheaper build. But with the graphics card we have in here, it's only 4 gigs of VRAM, and a lot of them only have 4 or 6. And so if you go over that, it spills into your system memory, which is your RAM. And if you have 16 gigs, that's fast enough to keep any like stuttering or big FPS drops to happen. Now, if you only have 8 gigs of system RAM and 4 gigs of video RAM, then once it spills out of the graphics card and goes into your regular RAM, that might already be all used up by the game. And then you'd have to go to your hard drive, which is exponentially slower than your RAM. And then you're going to see a big FPS drop and kind of like spike. And then as it loads out and switches assets into the video memory, then you'll see it return to like what it is. And so it's a much smoother experience. So 16 gigs for $15 is great.
Yeah, that's. I mean, my first build had 8 gigs.
Right
now, gaming's different now though.
You can get away with 8, but 16.
Yeah, 16.
You're only saving $25.
Yeah,
so that's not really going to like help you out that much.
Right.
And then this one, we were able to match the storage space of the Xbox Series X and exceed the PS5 with a 1 terabyte SSD for $73. Now it's not as fast as those games, but PC games can't take advantage of the extra SSD speed anyways for the most part. So you don't really need the crazy speed M.2s that can do 7 gigs a second because the games have to be coded in a way that takes advantage of that speed. and right now they're not.
And the difference between a SATA load and an M.2 load, it is noticeable for your boot speed and all that. But like what I've noticed, I just switched to an M.2 from a SATA. My SATA still is very happy with it. It's just that initial load on the game. You're not going to see much of a change in loading screens or anything like that. It's minimal
for the price increase that you have to pay. Now, if you could still get that deal, like you got a terabyte Samsung for $83,
yeah,
I'd for the extra $10. Heck yeah, I'm going to Samsung.
Yeah, so let's
1 terabyte.
I got to talk about this. So Dan sent me a Amazon Prime link the other day. Samsung 970 Evo Pro. M.2 1 terabyte, $83. That is the lowest we've ever seen it. So what I did, being a smart dude,
I think it was the 980 Evo.
970
Pro?
Yeah, 970 Pro.
Oh, okay.
So 970 Pro, Evo Pro. On Amazon, me being a smart dude, I price matched on Best Buy. I buy everything through Best Buy for the most part. Just because I have the rewards program through them. I had points, everything.
Way better rewards program, and you don't like have one on Amazon. So.
Right. So what they did is they matched them. I was talking to the guy on chat. I'm like, hey man, I want to buy 2 of these. He's like, that's against our store policy. I'm like, can I just get back and chat later? And he's like, that's fine. He's like, you know what? I just got it approved. You can buy 2. So I bought 2, and then I had $30 in Best Buy points, which normally I have a lot more, but I haven't been using the Best Buy credit card as much. But so yeah, $145 later, I got 2 terabytes of Samsung
M.2 M.2 storage.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy speeds, really good
dirt
stuff.
Cheap.
Yeah, like that's insane. So I thought I got a great deal with mine. I picked up like a gigabyte M.2 for 2 terabyte for $145.
Which that's still a
great deal. But then, then you get 2 Samsung ones or even cheaper. And Samsung is definitely better than anything else. And what I told, did you upgrade them already?
No.
So what I was explaining to Cobbsy over here is that Samsung has a free software that as long as you've got a Samsung SSD that you bought, that's your new one, they will transfer your entire old hard drive over to it. And it just does it for you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, because I asked Dan, I'm like, hey, when I switched from my hard drive to my SATA SSD, he did a hard drive. You actually put it in a physical machine and it writes it over. He's like, nope, you just got the program. Boom, 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 done. So I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
It's so simple. It does it all for you. It's all the Samsung Magician, I believe it's called, and it really is a magician. It's honestly great, and it's honestly for most people, it's worth paying the extra money to get a Samsung drive just for the simplicity of that process. The good feeling that you get when it just works.
Oh, just the ease of
use. Or, I don't know what I forget what
anyways.
But so
another good thing about Samsung I do want to point out with that Magician, it actually runs a wellness check on your SSDs.
Yep.
So it will randomly run it when your computer is like booting down or booting up. Like, hey, just so you know, your SSD is still good. There's no corruption, nothing.
It keeps track of like the health of yours. If you like write over it a lot and it's getting like close to, because SSDs have a hard death point where they only can do so many rewrites. Now it's a lot of rewrites.
Yeah.
You got to do almost like terabytes a day. But if you were like a video editor, or if you're using this for years and years and years, it's going to show you, hey, the health of this isn't getting good. I'd back up my data to another drive as soon as possible.
Right.
So that feature is really nice. It has a speed test built into it, and so it'll help you optimize your speed of your SSD. There's some settings in the BIOS. It'll like enable Intel Rapid Storage technology for you. If you don't have it enabled, you just like check a box and it restarts, and then boom, it's enabled. So there's a lot of really great features about the Samsung software and their amazing hardware that's industry leading and worth the price. And so the parts we kind of found were more like guidelines. And I'm sure if you spend $10 or $20 more on each one, you could get like some really nice stuff.
Right. We're trying to keep that price point.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it as close to like a console as MSRP console as possible, while beating the scalper prices of what they're selling, the $700-$800,000 PlayStations. So then we went with an MSI GTX 1650 4GB graphics card. And MSI makes some great graphics cards.
Dude,
that's what yours is.
My MSI, my 3070 triple fan version. The hottest I've seen that get was actually on Weird West at 62 degrees.
That's insane.
I was running Elden Ring was running at 39 degrees in the open world. I'm like, what the? I was like, is my shit broke? Like, I thought MSI Afterburner was broke. No, dude.
That's actually, like, that's liquid cooling temperatures.
Yeah, so...
The funny thing is, like...
And that was after the patch, because before it was running at 56.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, that's great.
Right.
And then it patched, and it's at 39 to 42. I'm like, all right.
What's funny is my 2080 Ti is really similar to your 3070 performance. But mine thing, like, if I didn't have mine, my whole card is liquid cooled into the system, like massive radiators, fans blowing like crazy, and I can get it down to like in the 50s degrees, 60 degrees, and I'm like, oh, this is great.
Right.
And the fact that you're running the same performance with just fans at lower noise volume and better temperatures is kind of crazy.
This is the first MSI card I've owned. I had a Sapphire before that, and then
now Sapphire doesn't make NVIDIA cards,
right? So
AMD only.
That was AMD, but before that, I just had NVIDIA. I can't even remember what it was. It was 700 series, whatever.
GTX 740, the gaming edition one though.
Yeah.
From EVGA.
Yep. It wasn't EVGA. Oh, yep. That's right. It was. Yeah. So, this is the first MSI one I've owned. Phenomenal, man. Just the sheer, like, when we held the card, it just feels well put together. It feels heavy. It feels, they added a kickstand, because they're thinking about that stuff. So MSI, even at this entry level style,
the cooler that this one has is the Aventis Cooler, which they slap on a lot of different cards. It's really similar. So 2 fans on this 1650. No problem.
Yeah,
you won't even hear this card.
Normally,
ever.
You'd see 1 fan on an entry level like that.
Correct. You won't hear that thing at all. And then we just went with the cheapest case we could find. Cases have increased in price since COVID, which is kind of unfortunate. And so they're $48 is the cheapest we could find for like a budget case.
That's actually a decent looking case though.
It's not a bad. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad looking case, and it has like some side ventilation, but no side window. And the inside's still all the like old PC gray from like the 90s, and it's got a front fan with some like blue LEDs, and so like it's not bad.
It's weird they spend the money on the LEDs but not the side window.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I know, but I mean, used to a couple years ago before the pandemic, you could get a great case for $35 budget that had a side window. I mean, like the only thing that wasn't great about it was hard to run some cable management, and some of the cuts to the like metal were kind of sharp. They didn't like polish them.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it,
and you can get the little plugs that pop in there. So I just want to point out, if you are, say you want to do a budget build right now, because you don't have a lot of money, or whatever your situation is, if you were thinking about upgrading in the future, spend a little bit more money on a bigger case. Because like me, I started with a budget build, but I bought a Thermaltake big ass case, and I have used that thing for the last 10 years almost, and I've upgraded 3, 4, whatever many times. Major upgrades, not even just RAM or whatever I've upgraded, but still have the same case. It's still awesome. If you can
fits all your cooling that you want. We upgraded the cooler, right? And and that's like another thing, like the height of the cooler can like come into play. And so
because you get a mini or a micro, you might be running good now, but in the future you might not just have to upgrade. Say the motherboard is like, oh shit, now I gotta
upgrade this
the case, and it's a snowball with PC building.
The big cases they're so friendly, and you don't need a massive case, but you get a decent size like medium tower or like a full tower that's smaller on the smaller side, yeah, you can really do so much, and you'll never have to buy another one again.
Right.
Like with you, and then so that and power supplies. Generally, if you invest a little bit into those, you're golden. Power supply is a decent one. It'll last you 10, 12 years. Some of them have warranties that long, so they're guaranteed to last you 10, 12 years.
Like the gold standard ones.
Yep. And then like the case, like that really doesn't ever change. So you get a good one that's like made of like decent quality materials, and you like the look of it, then you'll never upgrade again.
Right.
Now, myself, I've gone through a few cosmetic case changes that have been kind of pricey. But you definitely don't have. I'd never had to upgrade any of my cases, but
I was looking at my case the other day, and I'm like, man, kind of getting sick of white. I'm like, nope, I'm not. Don't do that.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so with a couple extra bucks in a few of these things, I think we could so this one comes out at $615, which I think is just a great price. You get a lot of gaming done on this thing. You could do a lot of multitasking on this thing. This would just be a great computer in general, not even just gaming PC. But then I think for probably about $750. So if we upgraded a few of these things with the 10 and $20, I'd probably still keep the i3, get a better motherboard, but definitely better graphics card with a better case, and maybe a better power supply. We've got like an EVGA 500 watt here for $35. That's crazy.
That's dirt cheap.
Crazy. Yeah, and EVGA is a great brand. But for probably about $750, you could probably get a banging PC here. So let's actually see what, if we wanted to get a different graphics card, what's kind of available. I like you can get a MSI 6600 non-XT for $334.
That's a good deal.
So for another $100 right there, and a little bit more money on the motherboard, you're at $750. You've got yourself a rock solid.
Yeah,
PC.
you'd be good with that.
Oh man, like the 6600 and the 6600 XT from AMD are such good value right now. They're kicking kind of Nvidia out of the water in the price department. So that's kind of what I would recommend. 600 to 750 is a really good price to get yourself a great gaming PC, and that's less than you'd spend on a scalper for getting one of the new consoles.
Right? Yeah. If you're thinking about buying a console from eBay or whatever, just go on. We're just on PC Part Picker. This took us 5 minutes to run through it.
The great thing about PC Part Picker is it will tell you if all the components you have are compatible. So you can't pick out parts that are incompatible with each other. And if you pick out a CPU and a graphics card, it will only show you motherboards that will fit your CPU. Then it'll only show you cases that'll fit your motherboard. So if you pick like a big motherboard, it's not going to show you all the tiny cases. Right. And so it's the compatibility and the selection of it all, and it shows you all the best prices from a bunch, like the top 10 major retailers. So you can't go wrong with picking out parts for a PC there.
Yeah, and for PC building, YouTube has everything you could need on how to.
It's only gotten better. That's how I learned my PC building. Is I went on YouTube, and there was a Newegg how to build guide from Paul's Hardware, who he has his own YouTube channel now, but he used to work for Newegg, and he did this how-to guide. And so I spent and it took me about 2 hours because I was rewatching. Okay, how did that go in? How did that go in? But there's much better guides now that you could definitely do it in an hour. And pretty much there's only one or two things that you really have to worry about. Damn it.
I knew you went black.
Only one or two. My phone disconnected.
That's funny.
One or two things you really have to worry about when putting together a PC.
We're back. That's funny. We got excited.
Insert PC part picker overlay there. Damn it.
That's funny. So, but yeah, I don't know how long we've been going, but that's all we really wanted to talk about today. So what do we got? 48 minutes. That's pretty much perfect. So I got nothing else to add. Not bad at all. You got anything you want to talk about?
Not particularly. I did see Doctor Strange though this weekend.
How was it? Dude, the trailers like
So yeah, the Multiverse of Madness. Like I went in spoiler-free review. I went in like I couldn't even. This is a great movie because I couldn't even. I didn't watch a lot of like trailers or breakdowns about it or anything because I wanted to stay spoiler-free. Yeah. But I did watch like the official trailers like once through, and I was pretty hyped. But I knew that it was going to get wild. I just didn't know how wild it was going to get.
Yeah.
And I kind of so I was able to go in with low expectations.
Who'd you go with?
Maddie, my wife. And so, but it like I went in with low expectations, and man, did it blow me away.
Blew you out of the water.
Like I was like, I was not expecting this. Like if you, one of my buddies was really expecting the like Ultimate Iron Man. That was like kind of teased if you're doing a bunch of teaser things. And so if you're going in with a lot of expectations, you may like get disappointed in who you're going to see, but the people you're going to see in there, you'll never expect it.
That's awesome.
It's wild. You're just jumping in these different universes. The fight scenes are crazy. It's a lot darker. It's probably the darkest Marvel movie we've ever seen.
Really?
They're not
like DC dark or
like they're killing people off.
Oh yeah,
left and right.
Well, it's different universes, so they don't care.
Right.
That's awesome.
Less like consequence or whatever.
Right.
But,
it's like the Simpsons, dude. Anyone can die. They'll come back next episode.
Like they weren't just like off-screen deaths either. They were some blood. The one thing that was funny is after like we were watching it, like as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this was supposed to come out in November. It was supposed to be a spooky Halloween Marvel movie. And because it's like it's shot like kind of like pretty dark, a lot of the scenes kind of creepy. There's some jump scares. I was like, oh, what? It like had my heart
scared the shit out of you.
Absolutely,
and your wife's like, "Hey, you stop being a little bitch."
Yeah, she loved it because she loves scary movies. She goes, "It was creepy. It was great. It was awesome." So
me and Heather don't watch scary movies.
Yeah,
so,
I am not like a scary movie person, and it really wasn't that bad. But
you don't like horror games either, do you?
No, nothing scary at all.
Resident Evil Village is on sale for $20 right now.
But I mean, it was definitely a really fun ride and like really good.
I want to see it. I really do. I actually wanted to have Heather watch the first Doctor Strange because she's never seen it.
So the only thing Maddie followed it perfectly. She said like there's nothing that I was confused about, which is great in like especially in something that's mind bending is the multiverse, right? So she said she followed all that perfectly. The one thing she said she was a little confused about is explained more in WandaVision. So if you haven't,
we stopped watching WandaVision. I watched 2 episodes and Heather's like, this really isn't for me. And I'm like, oh, it's respectful.
It builds.
Yeah,
it gets a lot better.
But
yeah, the first 2 were kind of weird. But okay, just pump it out because they're like 20-minute episodes,
right?
In WandaVision. So if you're gonna watch,
there's too much going on right now, dude. Moon Knight season finale.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, probably the best. One of the best. My favorite like endings.
Yeah.
To a Disney Plus series.
Well, last week when you said you didn't watch the episode yet, the Asylum, or the one after the Asylum. Mm-hmm. Remember when you were over?
Yep.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like what's great about Moon Knight is like it really focuses on like the multiple personalities aspect. Which
that
really
actor, first off, sorry to interrupt you,
Oscar Isaac,
dude. Me and Heather actually had to look up. We're like, is this like a twin? Is this not the same actor? Because he did so good transitioning. And then, well, I can't talk anymore. I'm going to spoil something. But I'll talk to you off camera.
I know. Yeah, so that had a really good ending. It's up there with some of my favorites because all the Marvel TV shows at least like end really well. I think the Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America towards the end, probably my least favorite ending so far. It did a really good job, and it tackled some really tough issues, and I think I enjoyed the ride of that one more than the ending. But like Loki was a lot slower than I thought it was going to be.
I liked Loki a lot, though. I feel like the character building, like,
and some of the side characters were just really good. Owen Wilson Love him.
He did really good.
The ending of that one was just like,
yeah.
So I love the ending of that one. WandaVision, though, it ended in this emotional, heartfelt, epic battle conclusion that I was not expecting, that you definitely wouldn't see from the beginning of the show, and it definitely gets more and more interesting as it gets on, because you really have no idea what you're watching with the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
you've got nothing.
I know.
It just like gave you a little bit of like, what's that? I think that was it.
I started getting excited when she started kind of realizing that she wasn't where she should be, and I was like, but we just stopped watching it.
Oh, it's so good, and that show solidified Wanda as like one of my favorite characters in the MCU.
Interesting.
It really, and Elizabeth Olsen is just an incredible actor. She's gorgeous. Actress.
Same.
It's the same craft.
Yeah.
She's awesome in it, and like they do all these different, like they shoot it, each episode is in a different sitcom in a different era, so they pick all these different sitcoms from that era, and that's dedicated to that episode. And like that was really cool, and you're like, oh yeah, this is from this, like it's a callback to this like sitcom, and this, and there's so much like to unpack from that. Like watching it live was great, because like week to week you got excited. We were watching video reviews and breakdowns. There was so many Easter eggs packed into that. There was a couple anticlimactic parts. They thought there was going to be this big tie-in of the X-Men to, this is how they're going to bring the X-Men in, because that's right after they kind of bought Fox. And so they owned the X-Men property now. And so everyone was like, this is it. This is the moment they're going to bring the X-Men in. And it wasn't. It was just supposed to be this like fun kind of joke. But the ending of it, the last episode, I think makes up for it. And it really shows you where Wanda's at. And some of that knowledge really helps understand what's happening in Doctor Strange. It's not required. You can follow it perfectly. Yeah. But it could be kind of, you're missing from point A to point B of how she got there.
Okay.
That's all I kind of have to say. And then if you haven't seen the animated series What If, that explains a lot of the multiverse different things, and a lot with the different like Doctor Stranges. Okay. So that can be just like a good reference point to like just understand the kind of concepts of it all.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen the What If.
They were good.
Kind of been interested, but dude, I got so much TV to watch.
I know, but was it? I'm trying to think of. I think What If was Chadwick Boseman's last performance.
I don't know.
As Black Panther, like he recorded it before he died.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was.
I would assume, because
it was either that or he did some of the video game.
Okay.
To Avengers. I can't remember which one was his last performance. I'm pretty sure it was. He has an episode where he's like, yeah, it's What If. He has an episode where they're What If, instead of the Ravagers taking the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, what's Star-Lord. Yeah.
You mean Chris Pratt?
Yeah. Instead of taking Chris Pratt, they take the Black Panther instead. And he becomes Star-Lord.
That's crazy.
And they're like, what would happen then? And
dude, that's actually
and that's his performance, and it's crazy. Thanos is a good guy in the movie because he's so charming. He convinces Thanos to join him.
Wow.
It's a great episode. If you're not going to watch anything, watch that episode of What If. Chadwick Boseman does just a great unbeknowing that was his last performance ever.
Yeah.
And he's great.
So sad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we really do need to cut it off now because your battery's about to die.
Uh-oh.
So we're not plugged in. We're not plugged in now, so we're going to call it out. I got nothing else. I want to pass over to my co-host, Mr. Drolly. What do you got to tell the viewers?
Stay nerdy.